Welcome everybody, mabuhay, and salamat for all of you who have come to attend and celebrate Filipino-American History Month. This is our second annual event, and as you can see, it just gets bigger and better every year. So thank you so much.
My name is Alma Manabat Parker. I am the Health Equity Program Coordinator for the Sama-Sama Tayo sa Kalusugan project with the Ketchikan Wellness Coalition, and it means healthier together. It is a project in partnership with the Peace Health here in Ketchikan, and we are looking at improving healthcare access and healthcare in general for the Filipino population. We are growing and growing. We have members of the community and members of Peace Health who make up a task force that really does outreach and promotes activities. Today, we have some folks here doing blood pressure and insulin checks for our Filipino community. So the first Fil-Am festival was last year. It was held at the Plaza. And what prompted me to host one is that our project was funded, and it was a great way to introduce the project to the community. But also I felt it was a nice way to bring our community back together. COVID restrictions were slowly starting to lift, and it allowed us to actually have an event. We still had to follow some really strict protocols, mask mandates. We had to have a entranceway that was designated to come in and an exit to designate people to leave. We had everyone sign in. All of our food had to be prepackaged and prepared prior. So those were some major differences that are way different from this year. Even through those restrictions, we had 600 people because we were able to count it because everyone had to sign in. This year, 2022, we're here at Ketchikan High School. We had 8 vendors last year. This year we had 35 booths. We have fresh food. We had the smell obviously overtakes the whole space. We had a lot more resources available. People were mask-free if they choose to be. We have more interactive games. We incorporated K-High's student sports groups and activity groups to use this event as a fundraiser and also support the Fil-Am Fest. I am so excited to see that the Fil-Am Club, which is Filipino-American Club of Ketchikan High School, is in its second year. I was part of the group that really tried to get students more involved, and I have some really great Filipino leaders who really do find the value of gathering, finding that common space that they feel comfortable celebrating their culture, but also learning their own experience. Many of our students come, maybe some are directly from the Philippines, and there's that adjustment, and some who grew up here but know nothing about the Philippines. So coming together and having that club here in the high school really gives them their own sense of community, and that is what I hope becomes much grander within Ketchikan.
So it's so good to be here to celebrate the rich history of the Filipino-American experience here in Alaska, to honor a unique culture that has played such a pivotal role in the history of our beloved state. I think people just really don't recognize the generations that Filipino-Americans have been here. I have close relationships with the community of Yakutat, and somebody who was born and raised in Yakutat, when they went to college at UCLA, they realized for the first time that adobo was not a Tlingit dish. I thought that was great, but you know, there are grandparents and great-grandparents who are Tlingit and Filipino, and that really says a lot about how long Filipino-Americans have been here in Southeast and the contributions that they make to our state.
Alaska has such a breadth of diversity, and I think so many of the diverse groups often get forgotten or overlooked, and I think definitely in that category are the Filipino-Americans. And I mentioned it earlier before, but Filipino-Americans have been part of the fabric of Alaska for hundreds of years, and we've got so many people who have been integrated into Alaska for generations and generations and generations. And from the cannery work that Filipino-Americans did early on in Alaska's history to now being heavily involved in the real estate industry and every sector, honestly, of Alaska. We've got Filipino Americans working and working hard in every single sector across our state. And I just think it's worthwhile to acknowledge that and celebrate that and embrace that part of our history. And certainly we don't want any one group to overshadow others. And it's so important to just acknowledge and remember and highlight and celebrate all the different diversity in our state, including Filipino Americans.
I'm Ariane Kaide, and I bake and make ube desserts. It's very rare for someone to see that there's a lot of Filipinos and there's no food. It's how we actually come together. We love cooking, we love food. Wherever there's Filipino, for sure there's gonna be food involved in it. I love baking. I took after my dad. I started baking, I would say 3 to 4 years ago. And I absolutely love it. It's how it de-stresses me. And I love being a part of other people's special day. Like when someone would message me like, hey, my mom's birthday is coming up, my anniversary is coming up, or I graduated, can you please make me cupcakes or cakes? I'm glad that they're doing this every year just to help, Filipinos get recognized in Ketchikan, although there's a lot of us here already, but we all do different things. Like I bake and then other people cook, or other people take photographies and other people make jewelries. And I think it's pretty cool that we get to show that, kind of represent the Filipino culture in Ketchikan.
So my name's Lisa Pearson. I'm the head of adult services at the Ketchikan Public Library, and we are here at Fil-Am Festival to just kind of let people know all of the resources that we have available, and also some of the materials that we have that are either written by Filipino authors or actually in Tagalog. So we have a wide selection. We have children's books, we have books for teenagers and adults, we've got cookbooks and biographies. We also have movies that are in Tagalog as well as music in Tagalog. And so what we have here today is just a small selection. So if you're looking for children, to teach your children about Filipino culture, we do have some books like Filipino children's favorites. And then we also have some books about learning Tagalog. And then for adults, we do have a wide variety of Filipino cookbooks, as well as some books about emigrating to the United States, growing up as a Filipino in America. We do have some biographies of Filipino-Americans, and also some writings by Filipinos about what it's like to be here in the United States.
For the future, I would love to see this continue growing exponentially. We would like to really focus next year's event on bringing back some of our traditional dances. That is a missing component that we have this year. And reason being is that many of our teachers who are really valued instructors in our traditional dance are aging, or they have passed on. So it is up to people like me and our younger generation to really push that forward and try to get our community back on track and learning more about our traditional dances, our traditional music, our language, and really being able to pass that on for future generations. So I feel that this festival will become that spearhead activity or celebration that really launches that and can sustain the opportunities to perform.